Stop scrolling. Look at your hand. Seriously. Hold it up and look at it right now. Now imagine shaking someone's hand and realizing 30 years later that single handshake cost you $100 million. We aren't talking about a bad investment. We are talking about the greatest legal heist in the history of American business. It didn't happen with a gun.
It happened with a fountain pen, a contract, and a ruthless salesman named Ray Kroc. Using, McDonald's, the clown, the Happy Meals, that is just the wrapper. We are peeling it back to see the rot inside. This is the story of two brothers who invented the future and the man who stole it from right under their feet. But here is the question that will haunt you. Does the creator deserve the empire, or does the conqueror? To understand the theft, we must go back before the billions, to a failure in the desert. 1940. The American dream was alive, and two brothers, Dick and Mac McDonald, were chasing it. They weren't businessmen. They were movie theater failures who moved to California looking for a break. They opened a drive-in. It was popular. Teenagers, hot rods, BBQ ribs. They were making money, but they hated it. The staff was flaky. The dishes broke. The teenagers were annoying. It was chaos. Most owners would just keep counting the cash. But Dick and Mac, they were obsessed with efficiency. So in 1948, they did the unthinkable. They fired everyone, they closed the doors, and they began to design a machine. Not of metal, but of meat. The brothers realized 80% of their sales came from just three things: hamburgers, fries, and cokes. So they cut the menu. 25 items became 9. No more ribs. No more plates. No more waitresses. They needed speed. They took a piece of chalk to a tennis court and drew the kitchen floor plan. They made their staff simulate making burgers. A literal burger ballet. If a worker took too many steps, they erased the chalk and redrew the kitchen. Efficiency was God. This wasn't a restaurant. It was an assembly line. Henry Ford's factory. But for lunch, the result, the Speedee Service System. 15 cents a burger, 30 seconds wait time. When they reopened, people hated it. Where is my waitress? Why is it in a bag? But then, the families came. It was cheap, it was fast, it was clean. By 1954, they were splitting $100,000 a year in pure profit. That's $1 million today. They bought Cadillacs. They built a custom house. They were living the dream. But here is the fatal flaw. They were content. They didn't want to rule the world. They tried franchising a few times, but it was a headache, so they stopped. They had the perfect business. But they lacked the hunger. And in the jungle of capitalism, if you aren't growing, you're dying. Enter the wolf. He's 1,000 miles away, and he's hungry. While the brothers were enjoying the sun, Ray Kroc was in the rain, failing. Ray Kroc was not a young man. He was 52. He was a salesman of obsolete machines. He had watched all his friends get rich while he was still hustling on the road. He was looking for one last shot, a Hail Mary pass to save his life. And that pass was caught in San Bernardino. He packs his bag. He doesn't know it yet, but he is about to meet his victims. Meet Ray Kroc. He isn't a tycoon. He's a hustler. He's 52, diabetic, and his gallbladder was removed. He played piano in brothels. He sold paper cups. Now, he sells milkshake mixers. He's driving across the Midwest eating dirt, selling to diners that are closing down. He is desperate. He needs a win. And then, the phone rings. San Bernardino. A restaurant ordered 8 multi-mixers. Ray thinks the order is a mistake. No one needs to make 40 milkshakes at once, he thinks. So he flies west to see it. He arrives before lunch. He sees the lines. He sees the families. He sees the speed. He watches a worker bag a burger in seconds. He does the math in his head. Ray Kroc didn't see a burger stand. He saw a church. A church of capitalism. He introduces himself. He is charming. He is energetic. He pitches them immediately. Franchise this, put one in every town. The brothers crossed their arms. No. We are happy, they said. We can't manage places all over the country. Ray sees an opening. What if I do it for you? You stay here. I do the work. I will build the empire. You just sit back and collect the checks. The brothers were skeptical. They wanted control. So they drafted the iron contract. It was a cage, and Ray walked right into it. Why did Ray sign it? Desperation. He was drowning. He needed a life raft. He went home to his wife, Ethel. She was furious. Another scheme, Ray. She wanted a quiet life. Ray wanted glory. The marriage was over right there. Ray was alone. He was 52. He was broke. And he had a contract that was about to strangle him. The contract stated Ray would get 1.9% of the franchise fees. But out of that 1.9%, he had to pay the brothers 0.5%. It was a terrible deal. Ray was doing 100% of the work for 1.4% of the money. But he believed in the future. He believed he could make it up in volume. He went to the banks. They laughed at him. A 15-cent burger business. No. So he mortgaged his house. He put everything on the line. If this failed, Ray Kroc would be homeless. The wolf was hungry, and he was cornered. And when a wolf is cornered, it attacks. Ray returns to Illinois. He breaks ground on McDonald's #1 in Des Plaines. He is obsessed. He sweeps the parking lot. He cleans the bathrooms. But the brothers are watching. Ray wants to put in a furnace? No. Ray wants to sell Coca-Cola? No. Ray wants to change the fries? No. They were treating him like an employee. Ray was the visionary, but he was handcuffed. And the money? It was a disaster. Ray was broke. He was the CEO of the hottest company in America, and he couldn't pay his secretary. He paid her in stock. That secretary, Mrs. Martino, would later become a multi-millionaire. But in 1957, that stock was worthless paper. The franchisees were making millions. The brothers were rich. Ray was drowning. To make matters worse, competitors were popping up. Burger King, Taco Bell. Ray was terrified. If he didn't move fast, he would lose the market. The resentment started to boil. It turned into hatred. He called the brothers. They didn't care. And deal is a deal, Ray. Ray realized he couldn't win by playing their game. He had to change the game. He needed a weapon. And that weapon walked through his door in a cheap suit. His name was Harry Sonnenborn. And he had a calculator. Harry was a financial genius from Tasty Freeze. Ray couldn't afford him, but Harry saw the vision. He joined the sinking ship. Harry analyzed the books. He saw the red ink. He laughed. Ray, he said, you are building a house on someone else's land. The brothers control the operations, but they don't control the real estate. This was the epiphany, the loophole that would kill the brothers. Ray realized he could buy the land under the franchise. Then he could lease it to the operator. He would be the landlord. And if he was the landlord, he had the ultimate power, eviction. The wolf had found his teeth. It was time to bite back. Harry's words changed history. You are in the real estate business. The strategy, Franchise Realty Corporation, a new company. Ray buys the land. He charges rent, 40% markup. The cash started pouring in, millions of dollars. Best of all, the brothers' contract controlled the food. It said nothing about the dirt. Ray had found the loophole. He was now the landlord. He held the keys. If a franchisee disobeyed Ray, he could cancel their lease and evict them. He suddenly had power. He stopped asking the brothers for permission. He started commanding, do it my way or get off my land. The brothers were confused. Who is this Franchise Realty? Ray smiled. That's a separate company. You have no power there. The brothers tried to sue, but Ray had a war chest now. He could bury them in legal fees until they went bankrupt. Ray was no longer the puppet. He was the puppet master. He wanted full control. He wanted the name. He wanted them gone. He called them one last time. Name your price. I'm buying you out. The brothers were tired. They were rich, but they were tired of fighting the wolf. They wanted their simple life back. They wanted peace, so they gave him a number they thought was impossible. They wanted enough to pay taxes and have $1 million each. It was a go-away price. But Ray took it seriously. Ray was insulted. I built this empire. You did nothing. But he knew he had to pay it. To be the king, you have to kill the king. He scrambled for the cash. The bank said no. Harry Sonneborn saved the day again. He got loans from pension funds. They had the cash. The deal was ready. But the brothers had one last surprise for Ray, and it would cost him everything. $2.7 million. Cash. That was the price. Ray met them to sign the deal. The tension was thick. Ray pushed the check across the table. Here, take it. But the brothers pushed back. We are keeping the original store. That is our baby. We are giving you the name, but not the building. Ray was furious. Fine, keep it. But you can't call it McDonald's. I own the name now. Ray was petty. He wanted to hurt them. The brothers agreed. They would rename it The Big. Then came the final point. The royalties. The brothers wanted 0.5% of all future sales in perpetuity. Ray's lawyers panicked. We can't put that in writing. It messes up the loans. Ray looked at the brothers. I can't write it down, but I promise. Handshake deal. Gentleman's word. You'll get your checks. The brothers, old school and naive, shook his hand. They trusted him. That was their final mistake. Ray never paid a dime. That handshake was a lie. If they had that 0.5% today, it would be worth $100 million a year. Ray Kroc walked out of that room with the company, and he immediately plotted revenge. He opened a brand new McDonald's 1 block away from the Big M. He ran them into the ground. The Big M closed within a year. Ray Kroc didn't just beat them, he erased them. So, was it theft? Yes. Ray stole the soul of the company. But without the thief, the idea would have died in the desert. The brothers were creators. Ray was a conqueror. And history is written by the conquerors. McDonald's feeds 1% of the world's population every day. The brothers are forgotten. Ray Kroc died a billionaire. The brothers died millionaires, but they died bitter. So next time you see those golden arches, remember, they aren't just a sign for fries. They are a monument to the most profitable betrayal in history.